Chapter 3. Under Pressure. A few short days after the test shoot, you rush across a busy intersection to a store labeled Fabrics and Fantasies. Hey, sorry, I'm late. I'm more worried about the part where you just sprinted through traffic. Everything okay? Not exactly. Sasha told me my article on the test shoot had some highlights, but she wasn't impressed. So I've been working overtime to try and get my other pieces done early and give every word that sparkle. I didn't realize you were in so much hot water. Basically, if I want to cover Fashion Week, I need to impress her big time, and I can't wreck Andy's plans if I'm not at Fashion Week. And I think I actually want to go to Fashion Week. I really want to see this project through. It's been a while since I got a real challenge at work, plus you are surprisingly fun to work with. Oh, well thanks. Surprising and fun is what I aim for. I'm just worried all this work pressure might kill me before the Fashion Week even gets me here. Well, then it's a good thing you came. Today is a perfect chance to work on the next of our 4 C's. Composure. You still haven't told me what we're doing here, though, and I'm not exactly feeling composed today. Composed isn't about what you're feeling. It's about the face you show to the world, even when you have to roll with the punches. But how do you stay calm when you're under this much pressure? Just bottle all the stress up and tamp it down? Let's start by focusing on your breathing, which, if you don't mind me saying so, is a little fast right now. He reaches for your hand, pausing until you nod in assent. Then he lifts your hand and presses it to your own chest, with his hand resting atop it. Here, feel the rise when you inhale, and the deflate when you exhale. You try to focus on the rise and fall of your own breath, the familiar smells of the city, streets around you. But even as you feel your heartbeat slow beneath your hand, you can't stop being aware of his hand, gently resting atop your own. Thanks, the pressure helped. It gave me something to focus on. Well, if I'm around, you're always welcome to focus on me. Now, that's the first half of composure equation. The other half is about your state of mind. When something throws you off balance, try thinking less about the impending doom and more about the creative solutions. Do you expect a lot of creative solutions today? Unfortunately, yes. I need a very kind of fabric in a very specific shade for one of my Fashion Week pieces. I ordered some from Italy a few weeks ago, but it never showed, so we're here to see if the local establishment has a few rolls. He opens the door and you walk into a space that looks halfway between fabric supply store and a costume shop. You ring the bell on the top of the lone checkout counter. Hello? Is anyone... Welcome to Fabian's Fabric and Fantasies. A man springs up from behind the counter. His waistcoat makes him look like he just stepped out of a 19th century pirate ship. What mesmerizing materials can I manifest for you on this Monday? We were hoping to look at your chameleon chiffon. I need it in sheer white with a gold flash, unless you have red or chiffon, of course. I shall shepherd you right to it. He leads you both towards the back of the store and then tosses a huge roll of fabric right at you. Think fast. Hold that, please. Our reds have been relegated down here, I believe. In a flurry of movement, he begins flinging other swatches of fabric at you, and then some small, other large rolls that are nearly as tall as you are. If we want his help, just remember composure. Aha! Did you find it? No. But I have retrieved my favorite rib knit jumper from its repose. Why was it hiding down here? That's, so great. Any chance for a chiffon down there? Alas, it seems we're all out. Unless I can interest you in a elusive indigo? Sorry, it's sheer gold or bust for me, I'm afraid. You hastily return the various fabrics to their shelves and escape before the shopkeeper can show you anything else. Nice work redirecting him in there. I was just trying to stay composed. Then you'll want to hold on to that feeling for our next stop. At the next shop you try, it takes several minutes before the bored employee at the counter puts her phone down and even looks at you. Yeah, I love those people. We're just looking for this chameleon chiffon, a sheer with a... We're out. Oh, cool. Thanks, I guess. Outside, you heave a sigh and type a few notes into your phone as Finn leads you down the block. Hey, you gotta love those employees that don't even look. Is sourcing obscure fabric always this much of a pain? I just assume that you had people to do this kind of legwork. Fashion houses do, but I'm just one designer who only started turning a profit earlier this year. I'm not hurting for cash, don't get me wrong, but I can only pay my own salary. Let me guess, a lot of that goes towards buying fabric. You have no idea. Next, he takes you to a well-lit shop where a man in a wrinkled tie looks up from behind the counter. Good morning. We were hoping to look at your chiffon. Do I know how many kinds we have? This is like telling Marcus you wish to look at wool. At thread. What my friend was about to say is we need the chameleon chiffon and a sheer white base with gold. Need? So you come to Marcus's shop already bowing to the tyranny of specifics. Do not open yourself to fabric. As the man's rant increases in volume, you see Fiend's jaw twitch. Your own blood pressure is rapidly rising. Composure, Lee. Composure. Just think about something calming. I'll think about throwing Andy's favorite clothes out a window. For some people, picturing your ex might make them feel worse, but for you, imagining Andy's stunned face as you defenestrate pieces after piece of his clothing is pure catharsis. I agree with this picture. Take that wool sweater he always bragged about. As you let that self-righteous rage steady you, the man's rant begins winding down. Marcus does not have this chameleon chiffon in white and gold. Are you sure? You didn't even look at... Marcus knows his inventory the way you know the intimate midnight thoughts of your head. If you think you know better, go look. We'll do that. Thanks. The two of you dodge out of Marcus's sight into a portion of the shop where coats and other clothes hang in displays between the racks of fabric. Nice work keeping your cool with the discount Werner Herzog back there. I almost abandoned ship and ran out the door. You were gonna leave me alone with that guy? I almost did, but I stayed. That should count for something. Okay, but you get 1 point for staying, but still no luck finding your chiffon. I hate to ask, but how bad do you need this fabric? Badly. I could get the right color scheme in a dozen different fabrics, but they wouldn't have the right luster, the right transparency. And choosing the right fabric isn't just about look or even wearability, it's about volume, how it moves on the body, and the runway. I'm trying to make a look that will inspire people, Lee, and I can't do that with any old silk blend. Finn, I love how passionate you are about your work. Believe it or not, I didn't just get into this for the parties and excuse to wear bespoke shirts. I can tell, not that the shirts are a bad thing, but it's inspiring that you care so much. The laugh fades in a softer smile. He doesn't quite meet your eyes as he replies. I do, about a lot of things. Although right now, I'm not sure if these last pieces will even be doable without... We talked about this, babe. I told you last night. Hang on. That's Taylor. What's she doing here? You and Finn peer around one of the fabric racks and spot her near the entrance, talking on her cell phone. Yeah, but I said I had errands to run. I'm at the store right now getting a jacket trimmed for my next shoot. Tomorrow. No, with Anya. You know about this. Sighing, she turns away from the fabric, right towards where you and Finn are leaning around out the aisle. Hide. You pull Finn out of view, right behind an upright cluster of rolled carpet. The two of you cram in a limited shelter behind the carpets, barely breathing. Hello? I thought I saw... None of your goddamn business. Footsteps approach the aisle just as you glance at Finn and realize that your faces are only inches apart. You can feel the firm planes of his chest press against yours as you both crouch behind the fabric. The two of you are frozen as Taylor's footsteps get closer. And then fade away. Sorry, babe. I thought I saw something in one of the aisles. That was close. With a start, you realize your body is still pressed firmly against Finn's. Help him up. You quietly slide out of your hiding place and extend a hand. Here, the coast is clear. Finn takes it and then folds himself out from behind the fabric. His hand lingers in yours for a split second before he lets go. Quick thinking. Thanks. Down the aisle, you can still hear Taylor's half of the call with, yeah, it has to be handy. But we didn't have any plans. Why is it a problem that I made my own? Sounds like your ex and his model are on the rocks. Yeah. Couldn't happen to better people. If they're miserable, good. It's what these two cheaters deserve. I couldn't agree more, but this does open up some interesting opportunities. Have you ever talked to someone down from a breakup after a big fight with a partner? Or given them a nudge to go through with it? Sure, but people don't always listen to that kind of advice. Not unless they're in the right headspace, and Taylor sounds like she's on a nudge, one away from seeing some of those red flags. Extracting Taylor from a miserable relationship with your toxic ex? Ruining the relationship Andy threw you away from? Juicy. Metal in the relationship? Obviously. You know what? I'll be right back. Finn salutes and gives you a cheeky grin. Good luck. Or should I say, have fun. You step out of the aisle just as Taylor, now 2 aisles down, is ending her call. I'm hanging up now. I'll be home later. She shoves her phone into her purse with a sigh. Well, this is awkward. She jumps, swirling around on you. Oh, Lee! Oh my god! I didn't know you were in here. I'll just go get out of your way. Was it Andy calling you? You mime holding a phone to your ear. Taylor winces. I thought so. I know what that feels like. What feels like? You didn't have plans, but you made plans without telling him. Now he's saying you did anything wrong. Exactly, but he still makes you feel like you did, doesn't he? He's not being mean. He just told me it hurt his feelings. But he said it in a way that makes it feel kind of mean, right? What are you saying? I'm saying Andy has a garbage boyfriend. Was that not obvious when you were sleeping with him behind my back? Taylor winces. That doesn't earn any points, but at least she has the sense to look guilty. I know we both hurt you, and I should have known better. The whole office knew you were together, and I know, you're a piece of shit. This is the very much your fault, but you know who else should have known better? Andy. Did you really decide to have an affair with him and think, oh, he's such a great person? He told me you two were having fights, thinking of breaking up. He what? Was that not true? No, and even if it was, how would us fighting make it okay? You two obviously fight. Does that mean it's okay for him to cheat on you? That wasn't a fight, it was just a disagreement. And we'll agree to disagree. Oh, sure. Tell me, does he give you an outfit feedback before you leave the house? Only because I let him. I want him to tell me if I'm wearing purples that don't match. Do you really? You want to be headed out the door, looking forward to a nice night, and hear this man you're supposed to say to love you say, babe, are you actually wearing that? Taylor wrings her hands. He's said that to you too? Yep, and I see he's already doing the whole clingy act. It's not an act. He likes being around me. You say that like it's a bad thing. And now that you two are living together, how much time do you spend around your friends? When you make plans with him, does he mope until you end up canceling, or do you go and then come home to him sulking? Yeah. Wow. He's really speed running things with you then. He waited until we'd been together over a year before he started pulling that with me. Although I guess I don't know how long you became a thing. Oof, true. Taylor shifts her weight uncomfortably from foot to foot. Don't answer that. Just tell me if he gives you those compliments that aren't really compliments, make you pay him back for everything, uses all your favorite things. Uses all your favorite things. What does a guy really use of a woman's? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know, I'm not one of those guys, so I'm just curious. Pay him back for everything? Yeah, I could see that. We'll go with that. He used to keep a spreadsheet of when he paid for dinner or a grocery run. He'd send me updates until I paid my share. He just likes to keep track of his finances. There's nothing wrong with budgeting. Yeah, typically you do that before you give someone money. It's not budgeting. He just treats everything like a transaction. He wants you to know when you owe him. Let me put it this way. Do you like dating a guy who never treats you to dinner? Does that make you feel awesome? And don't tell me he can't afford it because I've seen his paychecks. I need to sit down. She crumples into a chair that's holding miscellaneous scraps of fabric. I knew it. You! If your posterity is on merchandise, Marcus expects compensation for deformation or wrinklage. Not now, Marcus. For once, the shopkeeper shuts up and settles back behind the counter. You turn away from Marcus's muttering to focus on Taylor. Look, whatever you do with your Andy is your business now. Just think about whether he's the kind of person you want to be with. I don't forgive you for what you did, but I am glad I finally realized who Andy really is, now that you've got to decide what that means for you. Taylor takes a shaky breath and runs a hand through her hair. Thank you for sharing all that. Especially when, well, you don't owe me. No, I don't. I'll think about what you said. I better get going to my appointment, though. She stands up, smoothing her skirt, and heads out the door. As it shuts behind her, Finn joins you. Well, that seems to have went well. That depends on what she does next. But it did feel good to give her an honest take on all of Andy's flaws. Good. I don't suppose you found some chiffon stashed under a fur coat while I was busy with Taylor. I wish. I've only got one more shop on my list, though. If they don't have what I need, it's back to the drawing board. Hang on, Finn. Have you seen this? You point to a roll of fabric tucked right where you two hid to eavesdrop on Taylor. Shimmery fabric. And it's just the right color. Is it? The color. That's the color you were hoping for, right? With a gold shimmer? Yeah, but it isn't chiffon. It's, congeant organza. Much stiffer. But see how sheer it is? What if you did, I don't know the technical terms, like an outer layer with something less, or else more flowy? Underneath. And I could play off the movements between the two layers, even add some contrast between them. Finn lets out a triumphant whoop. He grabs your hands and spins you around in an aisle, laughing. Lee, you are a genius. Genius. Can I get that in writing? I want it on record that Finn Diamonds thinks I'm, Before you can even finish your sentence, he's whipped a notepad out of his pocket and scribbled a few words on it. I, Finn Diamonds, being sound mind and sincere heart, officially declare Lee Sachs to be a fashion genius. He tears the paper out and hands it to you. Wow, zero hesitation. How do you know I'm not going to just sell this on the internet later? That's a leap of faith I'm willing to take, although I prefer if you kept it close to your heart. He winks, which certainly does something to your heart, then grabs the roll of fabric and heads towards the counter. Marcus, I hate to interrupt what I'm sure is a deeply existential inner monologue, but, can I need 24 yards of this, organza. The two of you step back onto the blustery city streets with your prize in hand. This is going to be great for my article. A fabric quest, insights on the struggles of a small designers, all end in With a sudden crack of thunder, the clouds overhead begin pouring rain. My organza, no! Finn shelters the fabric with his body as best as he can and rushes under the nearest awning. If water touches this, it'll be wrinkled for days. I'll have to hand dry it. We could beg Marcus to let us back in or try to call a rideshare. There's no time, but my studio's just down the block. Help me keep this dry and run like your life depends on it. Sheltering the organza with your jackets and bodies against the torrent of rain, you rush down the street. And after a breathless dash, Fan lets you into a building and guides you up some stairs into an eclectic studio. He reverently takes the fabric from your hands and sets it on a shelf, then plucks a towel off a coat rack and hands it to you. Here, let's get you dried off. Thanks. His fingers gently brush yours as you accept the towel, dabbing at your hair and clothes as you glance around the room. It's filled with mannequin sketches, swaths of fabric on the work tables, and personal odds and ends, even a refrigerator and a small couch. Your studio is amazing. I feel like I just stepped into a fashion wonderland. More like a fashion whirlwind, but thanks for being willing to overlook all the chaos. Feel free to look around while I get us something warm to drink. He heads over to a small kitchenette while you wander through the studio, running your fingers over the piece of cloth of gold, admiring the intricate designs on the mannequins. All these outfits you have pinned to the mannequins. Are they for your Fashion Week collection? Yep. Don't judge them just yet, though. They aren't finished. No judgment. This is exactly the kind of detail I need for my article. Snapshots of a masterpiece being made. But you still haven't told me what your collection is about. Phoenixes. As that word hangs in the air, Finn joins you with 2 steaming mugs in his hands. As in ancient symbols of rebirth and intervention rising from the ashes. He nods and passes you one of the mugs of hot tea, almost as warm as his touch. Yes, kind of like what you've been doing since the day we met. Is that why you had so much good advice when I was losing it in the conference room? Let's just say it's a theme that's close to my heart. You take a sip on the floral green tea and wander through more of his designs. The more you see, the more obvious the theme becomes. But between some of the mannequins, you spot a magazine clipping on one wall. Wait, is that a picture of you in the article? Finn nods as you peer at a date on the clipping. But this is from 3 years ago. I thought you only started making headlines this year. That's not technically true. I got some attention fresh out of college, featured in a few magazines, designed red carpet looks for B-list celebs. It was almost the start of a very promising career. What do you mean, almost? Before the tabloid rumors. And that's how it usually is. He stares at the clippings, his mouth thinning into a rueful line. The local gossip rag ran a piece claiming I was sleeping with the editor of one of the magazines that had featured my work. All based on a picture of me leaving our apartment building. Nothing salacious, but it was enough to tank my career within a week. That clipping is from the last feature they ran about me before the rumors started spreading. After that, it all dried up. Finn. That's awful. They accused you of sleeping your way to the top because you were in some editor's building? I bet hundreds of people live there. The irony is, I was at her place. She was a friend, going through a health crisis, so I'd come by and bring her groceries and such. She didn't have any say over the piece her company ran on me, but one tabloid suggested the wrong thing. And that's all it took. Nothing she or I said could make the world forget that one goddamn article. But something changed. You're here now with a spot in Fashion Week. What did you do? I left the city, went to live near some family in Hoboken, had a long dark night of the soul that turned into a long dark year. I got this close to leaving fashion for good. Yeah, it's funny that we're having a discussion this deep in the story today, because we'll talk about it at the end of the video. Surrounded by the brilliant chaos of his work, he holds up two fingers, barely a hair's width apart. I couldn't stop clinging to all those old dreams of seeing my pieces on the runway. So I started from the bottom, and to get away from all the old gossip, I literally had to reinvent myself. Little known fact, I wasn't always Finn Diamonds. So everything you've told me about finding a fresh star, you learned from that the hard way? Yes. That's why when I saw you in the conference room, I couldn't just walk away, not when I saw so much of my own pain in your eyes. And in the meeting, when you spoke up to Sasha, I remembered clawing my way up to show the world that I was still worth something. So I made you an offer. And here we are. I'm really glad you did. I'm just sorry you went through so much pain to get her. You slowly reach out and rest a hand on his arm. He lets out a long breath as if some weight has slipped off his shoulders. I could say the same to you. But here we are, still breathing, still digging out of the ashes, trying to find that spark again. That's what counts. Yeah. You both sip your tea in comfortable silence, gazing at his work now. You see it in a new light. And on the wall near the entrance, you suddenly spot a cluster of sketches. Are these sketches yours? Blueprints for the masterpieces? You've got to stop calling them masterpieces before they're done, Lee. My ego doesn't need the help. After what you just told me, agree to disagree. I think you could use some positive reinforcement. Okay, but these aren't my blueprints. A lot of these sketches are just for me. Sure enough, you see some that are just ideas for outfits, and the others are simple portraits or landscapes. A street corner sketched in pencil, an old man on a subway car rendered in a few bright strokes of paint. Sketches helped me clear my head. I did a lot of drawings during the year I was away. No wonder you're so good, I'm jealous. I almost did an art minor in college. I haven't had much time to draw since then, though. How about right now? I could show you some basics. He gestures towards an easel with some fresh paper pinned to it. There are pencils and a jar of paintbrushes on a table at its side. After everything he shared in this place, it feels like a chance to get to know him better. Okay, Maestro, let's see what you can teach me. Step 1. You need some tools. He set the last of your tea aside and he guides you to a stool in front of an easel, then arranges some pencils and paint palette beside you. And last but not least, you need a model. With one of the brushes, he points out a mannequin to one side of the room that's draped in riotously colorful fabrics. Riotously? There we go. Working with a reference always makes things easier, so I'd like you to sketch what you see. I'll try. Learning a new word today. You pick up a pencil and start sketching, glancing between the paper and a mannequin and its bright, layered outfit. That's good. Sketch the body first. Go light. You'll be covering most of it. You outline the mannequin in the pencil as Finn stands beside you, watching with a keen eye. And now the basic shapes of the outfit. The way those lines intersect here. You say that like it's simple. You begin outlining the broad structure, but halfway through your pencil falters. You squint as the mannequin as you try to get one line just right. Here, mind if I, please, help. He reaches out to lightly rest his hand atop yours, guiding your pencil through the sure stroke. Don't be afraid to apply more pressure here. If you want the lines to be straight, put a little confidence into them. Confidence. Are we getting to the third C already? Consider this a sneak preview. His hand is still gently resting on yours, but you take the lead on the next stroke of your pencil, sketching the mannequin's neckline with a few bold strokes. Perfect. You're natural. Only because I had you riding shotgun. Give yourself a little more credit. He pulls away, leaving just the warmth of his touch lingering on your hand as he begins mixing some paints matched to the outfit's vibrant reds and blues. While you continue sketching, you study Finn's own sketches on the wall. Your style's changed a lot over the years. You nod towards some of the sketches with neat, precise line work, their paper slightly faded from the sun's exposure. Finn's newer sketches are looser, wilder, more expressive. I'd be a pretty boring designer if I did all I did was draw the exact same thing. Bloody dog. But what were you trying to draw back then? What got your sketches to where they are now? Finn slides the prepared palette of paints over to you, joining you by the easel once more. Younger Finn was chasing perfection, common rookie mistake. I thought that the more precisely I tried to recreate what was in my mind on the page, the better the result would be. There's nothing wrong with high-fidelity work, but... He gestures towards a sketch of a man on a street corner. It's stunningly realistic, but the lines feel stiff. It doesn't leave a lot of room for creativity. For me, yes. When I was starting over, I focused less on what I saw in my mind's eye and more on making things that felt like it. The more I embraced that, the more everything fell into place. As Finn's words sink in, you dip a paintbrush into some red paint. You try to apply the color in the right place, but let your brush strokes flow freely across the page. Like that? Finn watches you finish another stroke and whoops. Yes, use the mannequins as inspiration, but show me what you feel. The compliment makes your chest warm as you keep working. Finn watches carefully, occasionally guiding your brush just a little or mixing a new shade of paint for you. So, what about you? When you're working on a new article, what are you hoping to achieve? I write to express how I feel, which sounds simple, but it's the hardest part of the job. And the most important. People can tell when your heart is not in the work. So, I like that you're willing to let your heart say its piece. That's the hope. Anyway, whenever I find or finish these articles on your collection, the paper in front of you has become a proper portrait of the mannequin, rendered in a mix of pencil and bright colors. But when you lean in to make one more brushstroke, a lingering drop of water drips off your arm and onto the paper. Crap, I think I just killed a piece of art. Laughing, Finn shakes his head. As a very wise painter once said, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Bob Ross. I know that line anywhere. Look at how it's transformed the paint. You inhale and look at the blurry spot where the water landed. It has spread and pulled in a paint from a few different strokes, mingling the colors near the center of the piece. I never would have thought to add a touch like that, but that's the best part of art. The imperfections can transform your work in ways that you never would have imagined. All you have to do is make them your own. With a few quick brush strokes, he makes the blurring from the water look more deliberate. Are you giving me painting advice or life advice right now? Why not both? Nothing wrong with both. He sets the brush aside, and the two of you step back to admire the finished piece. Did I really just make that? You only realize you've said the words out loud when Finn laughs warmly. You did. Please, you did at least 30% of that. All I did was build on the foundation you created. This is yours, Lise, and it's beautiful. There was a time when Andy complimented your work. It meant something to you. You've even earned 2 whole compliments from Sasha in your time at Flair. But those words from Finn are worth infinitely more. Thank you. And thanks for sharing a little inspiration. You're welcome here anytime. The two of you share a quiet smile, and you realize the rain outside has finally stopped. Although I'm guessing you probably have to get home. Yeah, I need to start a write-up of today. I promise I won't put the personal stuff in my article, or anything about our deal, but running errands with you today was great. You did great. I've seen professional designers break down under less stress, but you got through it like a champ. Would you say I kept my composure? You took the words right out of my mouth, so when will I see you next? Sasha texted me about something called the Ferrero Gala later this week. Ah, yeah. It's an annual pre-game party for Fashion Week, except less beer and sports jerseys and more evening gowns and hors d'oeuvres. Cool. So I'll fit right in. Huh. He steps forward and reaches towards you to wipe at last a bit of rain water from your cheek. After today, Lee, I think you'll do marvelously. That night back at your cramped, but still only partially unpacked apartment, you sprawl on the couch to type up some notes. In this world, the right swath of fabric is worth more than gold, and it can be just as rare. But Finn Diamonds was fearless in his quest. He never doubted his vision. He kept searching and haggling and searching. And thanks to an out-of-box solution, eventually, he found his answers. But while you're doing an internet search about organza you helped him buy today, curiosity strikes you. I won't bring up the old dirt in this article about Finn's new start, but what exactly did those tabloids say about him? It takes a bit of digging, but you end up on a website of a trashy magazine called Shot Chaser. There's an article from 3 years ago with a headline in all caps. The hottest thing in fashion is the hottest fling in town. You might have seen some flashy coverage of a certain designer these past few weeks, including a full spread in Empire Era's magazine. But if New York has fallen in love with Finn, no one has fallen harder than Empire Era's new editor, Lauren Perlola. Finn was spotted at Peralta's apartment every morning this week, bringing gifts for his lover and leaving empty-handed, though not, we assume, without a generous thank you. Sometimes when a hot new thing arrives at the fashion scene, it's their designs. It's not their designs are selling to get the top. It's something much more personal. Coverage by I See You. Photos contributed by and Per Sand. Photos atop the article show Finn going in and out of the luxurious apartment building, carrying what are obviously grocery bags. You can even see the top of a carton of matzo ball soup sticking out of one of them. He really was just helping a friend, and they turned it into a smear piece. Glance at the byline at the bottom of the article again, and then it hits you. Wait. Ann Persan. That's Andy's private gamer tag. Oh no. Sure, it's generic, but how many photographers in New York are using the same stupid name with that distinctive lens flare in their pics? That first year we moved in together, he must have been doing paparazzi pics on the side. And his photos almost ruined Finn's life. Oh no. Well, this doesn't bode well. Alright, so before I get to what I need to say, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. There's also the thanks and join feature that's on the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated if you would support in any way, or whatever that you see fit. Just a simple, buck or cup of coffee. Today I'm having to do 6 hours of reading, and we're only about halfway through today's stuff, so yeah, anyway, so with that being said, you know how kind of like Finn gave up for a year, and it was through a dark time and everything else? I've been through those, except I never got to walk away. No kidding. Though, just to give you a TLDR, you remember those couple years ago, if you've been here long enough, where you remember that little group of hyenas, right, that were, targeting me and posting on, what was it, the Tumblr, and also their mods who run the choices Reddit. Yeah, so you realize why I never post on those is because of those people. And they're kind of the same thing. They're smear campaign. Where if you go and you check, and you guys can do this yourself, there's never was audio, there was never pictures, there was never anything posted about me. But it was just a opinional smear campaign. It was, what he did. He did this. He did this. He does this. He does it. And it was just that. It was literally and figuratively just that. And that kind of like made me want to quit. But I kept going because of those of you that actually you enjoyed the choices that I did, and me reading and whatnot. And so you guys' support of just the content I was doing got me through that time. But as I've done this gig for a very long time, I'm going to be honest with you. Especially within the last 24 hours, I've just gone through a lot, right? And there's been some not so nice people who pretty much say that this community, this channel's dead. That I don't really let basically no one watches me, and yeah, no, I could say everything they said, but it's yeah, no. And I tried to keep my health held high, but me having the brain I do, and yeah, knowing analytics and everything else, just today kind of hit a breaking point, right? And so, I'm just gonna finish covering today's choices. Um, Long story short is then I'm gonna get some, I don't know, some rest or something, and just right now, I'm in where Finn was, but in a different, way, in a different reason, and maybe I just need a break. I don't know. I've been doing this for so long, and again, my one whole goal here has been to grow the channel, to grow this community, this family that I look at it, this thing is, the reason why I have to say this channel, this community, is because that's what everyone else on the planet calls it, right? That's what even this platform, YouTube, calls it. But I look at this as a family, and anybody who's gotten to know me knows that's what I call it, right? You don't need to be blood related. Anyone can be family. And so this is what I've always looked at, and this is what I've tried to grow, a family. And I just feel like I haven't grown it, to be honest. Again, I look at numbers, I look at a lot of things, right? Unfortunately, I have to every time I log on and upload a video. They kind of shove the numbers down my throat. Welcome to being a content creator. If you didn't know what it's like, it's really pretty down. So, yeah, no. Just today I'm really struggling. And, yeah, just thought I'd share it with you and just say, hey, I kind of feel how Finn felt. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts about the chapter down below. I'll catch you all later. Peace.